Is there a noticeable difference between the Themskates 909 or the Themskates 901 skate in the real world? So the 909 is the original one, which is more expensive and is supposed to be higher grade plastic. It is a higher grade plastic. It's TPU, thermoplastic polyurethane, and the 901 is the more budget version of the skate, which is made of polypropylene, i.e. PP, you'll hear it get called. But in the real world, can I notice a difference on my actual feet? So there is some like long-term differences between the two plastics, which I'll go through in a minute. But what I really want to find out is, do they sound any different? Do they feel any different? And do they flex any different? Let's just start with, I guess, a flex test. So here's the 909. I'm going to flex it over. Feels like a 909. I can't see any particular bending in the shell or anything like that, but it feels like a good amount of like mid flex. And then the 901. Do you know what? When I tried them the other day, I was like, oh, I can't tell any difference at all. But today, actually, I would say, yeah, they feel a little bit more elastic, the 909s. And these feel kind of more rigid on the 901 skate. It's very minor. It's not a big difference. And in the real world out skating, I think that I don't think like if you're in the skate park, if you're having a session, if you're trying a lot of grind tricks, I'm not sure if you would really actually notice, because it's not like you can get the 909 further over or anything like that. I mean, maybe you prefer stiffness, maybe you want it stiff all the way up from bottom to top without a kind of an elastic point in here. But yeah, so I can feel a slight difference today, actually. I was kind of expecting to say that I couldn't feel a difference. I think it's just because I ChatGPT'd the difference between the two plastics, and ChatGPT said that the TPU was going to be more elastic. So now in my mind, I think I can kind of feel it more with that knowledge. Okay, shall we test the sound of them? Yeah, let's do a stomp test. 901. Weirdly, the 901 sounded like marginally better. Al says it could be my buckle. Just going to tape it up. So actually, yeah, the 901, the cheaper plastic, sounds slightly better, but this was a really unfair test now that I think about it, because the 909s I've skated a few times. It's 4 or 5 years old, and I'm comparing it to a 901 skate, which is fresh out the box. I have only skated the 909 a few times, and I've put brand new Soulplates on it. They've got exactly the same frames on them, and it's not the buckle because we taped the buckle up. So yeah, the 901, I don't know, at least in this test, sounded a bit better than the 909, but you decide. Maybe it's because I've put the new 901 Soulplates on the old 909 boot. Maybe they don't fit the boot quite as well as the original 909 Soulplate. There's a lot of speculation going on here and not much science, but those were the results. Should I take the mic off as well and do a quick rolling test on each? Very slight difference on the 901. I don't know if you could hear that through the mic, but they just sounded the frequency of how they sounded rolling along. It was a higher frequency, so the TPU, the better quality plastic, seemed to have a little tiny bit more of like a rumble, like a little bit more bass in the sound of them rolling along. I'm going to try a couple of grinds. I don't know if you saw that, but I was very stood up on the way out, and I almost slipped out into a front side. I can adjust for that. Obviously, I can just do it a bit better. Clearly, it's because I've got my old frames on. I'm not doing justice to the Soulplates. So I'm wearing Wish frames, which have got quite a deep groove in them now. So I need to go and put on some frames, some them frames, so I can test them exactly how they're meant to be with a shallower groove. Okay, we have Themskates flat frames on now, and as you can see, the groove is pretty shallow in these. So let's go try these out. Oops. As usual, it's probably just a case of getting used to it. I have to say, I didn't notice a huge difference between how angled my feet were on these frames versus the more grooved Wish frames I was using before. Felt like pretty similar, but once I got it, it felt really nice. I don't want to bore you by doing endless grinds. I think we all know, once you're used to it, it's going to be fine on all grinds. The main thing is the Soulplate felt a good speed, felt fast, didn't feel like weirdly slow or anything. They've now got a bigger Soulplate on them at the back. Yeah, let's go and compare the Soulplates of the 909 and the 901 side by side. Okay, we have a 909 on the left and a 901 on the right. As you can see, the sole shape is a bit different, but let's measure that groove to start out with. So I'm measuring groove to frame 2.8 centimeters on the 909. Groove to frame on the 901, also 2.8 centimeters. So it shouldn't really feel any different for Royales. Soul space itself, as you can see, it's quite complex, the shape here, but I suppose at its widest point, 3.5 centimeters on the back for the 909 and 3.8 or 3.9 on the front. This one is 4 centimeters at the back and 4 centimeters at the front. Very little difference actually between those two, much less difference than I thought. These are both size US 9 to 9.5 Soulplates. It's just that this one's got a squarer shape coming further back and further forward, really. Other than that, it's just a couple of millimeters here and there. So that's pretty interesting. What's the other side look like? Same grooves. The angle on the groove's different. Maybe that's what I was feeling. Okay, what's the weight difference here? The 909 comes in at 1,872 grams, whereas the 901 comes in at 1,716 grams, about 155 grams difference. That's about 8% lighter for the cheaper 901 skate in the PP plastic. Okay, I've got two skates side by side, the 901 and the 909. I've tried to choose the best like-for-like models here. The basic black one versus the basic black one. Both got the basic them liners in. So one is £220, the cheaper 901, and that's versus £260 for the 909. So £40 more, what are you getting? Well, you're getting the better plastic, as we've talked about here. As you can see here, the plastic looks more shiny. It's more matte on the 909. I think it looks better in the matte. And then the frames are different. So you get a flat frame on the 909, an anti-rocker frame on the 901. And of course, that means that you get 4 extra wheels on the 909 skate. So how much do we think 4 extra wheels are worth? Let's say £25. Then to bring that up to the 260, you're talking about it being an extra £15 to get the better TPU plastic. Other than that, the skates are very similar, although then there's the argument that the sole plate on the 901 is a better sole plate because it's slightly wider and is the updated shape, but that is up to the individual whether you think it is better or not. And then, oh yeah, the other thing I noticed as well, or that Harry just pointed out, was that it's got 2 flex points here in the 901 in the shell, you see here and here, versus the 909, which just had that one. Let's get this up. This one flex point here. That could be a response to the 901 having a stiffer plastic, maybe it needs 2 flex points in it to be able to flex more. But yeah, that is another noticeable change. It's not mad to think that you would spend the extra £40 to get an extra set of wheels and a better plastic, is it? A conclusion on these skates, and also let's talk about those plastics and how they'll hold up over time. So from my research, it seems that because the PP plastic on the cheaper skate is less elastic, there could be a chance that if you do, lots of bending in the skate over time, maybe the skate could become misshapen. This is not confirmed. We've not tested this. I'm just saying that is something to keep in mind and think about. Whereas we do know that the more expensive plastic in the 909 is definitely going to spring back to where it was originally, no matter how much you use it. So that's one thing to think about. The other difference between the plastic is that you've got this semi-gloss sheen on the cheaper PP plastic, whereas you've got a matte finish on the 909 plastic. In this particular model here, this yellow JSR skate, I think it works really, really well. I love it. On the black model, I'd say that the matte plastic on the more expensive one looks much better than the semi-gloss plastic. I don't know why it is that they had to make this PP plastic semi-gloss, because I've definitely seen other skates out there made of that polypropylene that aren't semi-gloss. I can only imagine that it's something to do with the fact you probably have to add another thing back into the manufacturing process in order to make them more matte again, if that makes sense. So maybe you have to mix the plastic with something extra or do some sort of sanding process afterwards to make it more matte. And obviously that's not what Themskates wanted to do with that. They were trying to make a budget skate, so they didn't want to add another thing back into the manufacturing process, and that's why that more budget model has that slight sheen to it. But that's just an individual, it's going to be an individual opinion on whether you like the sheen or not. The other funny thing that I read was that the PP plastic below 0 degrees Celsius can get brittle. So, if you're skating in the snow, guys, then just make sure you don't do anything too gnarly. But for everyone else not skating in the snow, apparently it makes absolutely zero difference whatsoever. And the other thing was abrasion resistance. So the cheaper PP plastic is more prone to abrasion, and so you can see more marks on the skate when you hit it off a ledge or something like that, versus the more expensive TPU plastic. It's just more resistant to those marks. So over time, the more expensive skate is going to look a bit less beaten up than the cheaper one. So actually, before this review today, I wondered whether there was a place in the market for both of these. I was a bit confused as to why this one with a better sole plate had come out and you could buy for cheaper, and where that left us with the 909 skate, because it just felt like, well, who's going to buy the 909 now that the 901 exists? But actually, after considering all things that I've mentioned in this video, it's not mad that there's two on the market here. You want to pay a little bit more. It's not loads more, is it? So if you want a bit of a better plastic, a flat setup, etc., more abrasion resistance, potentially lasting longer in the shape of the boot, then you've got the choice to buy the 909. To be honest, I don't think I'd notice a difference if I hadn't have tried one on one foot, one on the other foot. For everyone else who isn't me, if you were to skate both 909s on your feet and then a couple of weeks later skate both 901s on your feet, I just really don't think you'd notice any difference at all in their performance. But if you are someone that really likes to go into the details and really likes to know you're getting the absolute best, then yeah, the 909 is the better skate. The other thing about the 909 as well is they can continue to make these in kind of exclusive colorways and with the intuition liners and make it the high-end version. So actually, yeah, I've kind of surprised myself, and I do think there is a place in the market for both these models, particularly if they keep the price down on these 901 skates. Okay, what was my opinion in general on the skate? I'll keep this brief because we've already done Themskates reviews in full, but for me, the fit of a Themskate in this size, is a size small, with an intuition liner in it, it fits my personal foot better than any other skate on the market. It's the skate that I feel most at home at. It feels most like it's coming with me. It feels like it's part of me. So that's one reason I really like Themskates. The speed of the skate felt really fast on the roll. I just skated Mesmer skates last week, which I really liked, and part of that was that they were really fast on the roll as well. But skating these straight after Mesmer skates, they felt just as fast, if not a little faster, maybe just because they're a little bit more lightweight. The flex of the skate is just mid for me. It's just like, it's not too much flex, it's not too stiff or anything like that. It seems like the perfect amount of flex. And then the sole plate and grinding abilities, yeah, I just have to kind of break this in and get used to it. But I've skated Themskates before and I really liked them for all grinds. So I think just like any other aggressive skate out there, you're just going to break it into however you like it. And yeah, depending on what model you buy, the Themskates frames are good too. Yeah, the flat Themskates frame I really like. And if you're an anti-rocker skater, they now have the anti-rocker specific frame, which comes on the black skate. So there's something for everyone. Oh yeah, and the liners, yeah, the liners are just like fine as well on the 901. They're not supposed to be super high-end liners or anything like that. This size shell does not fit me with their stock liner in. I have to put an Intuition liner in to make this skate fit me. In my opinion, the Intuition liner is the perfect match for the Themskate. It fits perfectly. It brings everything together. A Themskate, whichever model, deserves an Intuition liner. I hope this was informative and this helps you choose between a 909 and a 901. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.